Vasati vakanganiswa nenyonga-nyonga yekurwa neshamwari yavo maitete Mai Maketen vanga vachitaura her journey of her childhood nekuti vakazosangana sei nababa vavo. Welcome back to your channel. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Tiri kukontinya nenyaya yavo. Vari kutaura the last time we spoke vanga vataura zvebrother yavo ichivaudza about Sylvia. After my brother narrated his story about his sexual abuse, it really hit hard on me. I was hurt so much. It affected me negatively, and I could see how it had already affected Shepard. I began to feel sorry for him and became so overprotected. I never wanted to see anyone around nor close to him. When Shepard got into arguments, I would try to fight for him with everything in me, always. I made sure that he was okay all the time. I told myself that I will always be my brother's keeper. Even if I get married, wherever I go, we'll be going with him. Time went by. We continued going to school as usual, and I was a very bubbly student. I would forget my problems sometimes because of mingling with friends at school. Fast forward, unfortunately, my brother became very mischievous from Norway. Since he had recently come from Zishavane, we didn't know his behavior very well, but still, Gogo did not lose hope on him. I remember one day, a lady from our wood came to Gogo and complained how my brother had done something bad at her house. Gogo asked for forgiveness from that lady and she cried, saying, Abigail, chindisimbisao mwana wako Shebi ari kundisorera mabasa. I was doing my Form 3 at the time. I thought of asking my grandmother again about my biological father's whereabouts and to know more about him. As a child, I thought he would also help Gogo to take care of me and my brother since Shepard's father had done the same. Then one fruitful day, I gathered courage to ask her, Dakavanetsa, because the rumor was becoming an everyday thing. So I pleaded with my grandmother to tell me because I really wanted the answers. After a lot of effort, Gogo gave in with teary eyes. She said, Memo, ndaiti ndozokuudza wapedza chikoro, asi rega ndikuudze. She went on to say, as you already know the truth, now, before thinking twice, I told her, I'm ready. We went into a bedroom and she sat me down and with tears in her eyes she said, Baba vako vakandigumbura musukuru, vakakuramba iwewe. She said this while lifting a mattress and she pulled up a calendar for the year when my mother was pregnant with me. It had something written on it. She had written some words that were said to her by my father the day that he denied my mom's pregnancy. For the respect I have for him and trying to prevent him from being judged, I will not repeat them. But those words were so hurtful. That is what hurt my grandmother so much, and she vowed to him that he will never see Inini again as long as she is alive. She said those words hurt her till her death. That's why she never wanted me to connect with my biological father. It's true when they say you can't take back your words, no matter how hard you try. All these things happened and were said during my alleged father's prime time. He was a young, handsome, active man who used to drive. By then. It was a big deal. He was very comfortable in life, if I may put it that way. So my grandmother told me, because of that, I decided to stay with you so that he stays with his new family and kid that he wanted. I then asked her about the little history on how my mom ended up meeting with my stepfather. And she said, Mama vako vaitengesa pamusika. Ndobva musoja auya akavafarira. Iwe waiva uchiri pamaoko. Akati ndinokuda, ndinokutora, zvese nemwana wako. I was wild. This was the day I added a lot of respect on my late stepfather to be my hero. Sometime later, my mom was stopped from selling musika and my stepfather paid lobola for my mom. He took the responsibility of being my father. My grandmother added, Ndiye ndinamupasa ulemu wa mbili nditu. I then gave him a lot of respect. That's what it means. That's why he never wanted to say anything about my biological father. After Gogo sharing everything, I understood her and I believe that she was justified in her actions. I then told myself that my father is late and decided to let this father issue go. I forgot about him and I came to peace with everything and life continued. Having Gogo in my life was a big blessing. As I was getting older, I became more wiser. I would get clients and make some earnings and assist Gogo on paying our fees. And after a while, I met my boyfriend. He is my husband today, Baba Maketen. He was an amazing guy, and I told him everything about my life, and he understood me more than anyone till date. Sometimes Gogo would struggle with school fees and he would assist me here and there. Fast forward, I finished my O-level and I kept pushing my hairdressing talent because that was what I knew best. During this time, I remember if any relative needed help, I would be asked to go. It wasn't easy to be doing house chores, and sometimes I'll be as far as Chegutu, staying away from my brother was something I never wanted, but because of situations I could not change, I had to go. I would just start crying from nowhere anytime I think of my brother. This was very tough for me, but I think I was on a training, though it was the hard way. As difficult as it may be, I can safely say it was to my benefit because I now know how to keep my home in order. One day, I thought I should start looking for a job as I couldn't continue to A-level as yet. Gogo couldn't afford to pay for me to further my education. After a while, I got a job in a salon in Greencroft. I had always wanted to make it in life, so I didn't go to local salons. I was very good with plating. I got a job straight out of ghetto. That's how good I was. Few months later, I got a new job at a better salon by Holiday Inn, and my employer was Mrs. Chindori. Salon yavo yaitopisa zvekudaro. I have some of my friends who found love through coming to see me at Holiday Inn. Some got destiny helpers too. Time went by, and my boyfriend decided he wanted to marry. This is when my father's issue resurfaced again. As someone who had a good cultural background and still follows it, he insisted the father had to be there on Lobola. I started to think how I was going to convince Gogo to allow me to get in touch with my father so that my Lobola can continue. After a bit of back and forth with Gogo, she later agreed and spoke to my other aunt. She agreed and gave the other family members, including my father. Even after Gogo agreeing with my father's presence on my lobola, she didn't want to be around because she was hurt very much. I tried so much to convince her until we agreed that he sends a representative that is his sister or someone from his family, not him coming here in person. We gave my aunt feedback and she also did the same to the family. I then asked Gogo if she could allow my father's people to come home so that we meet for formal introductions before Lobola. She agreed for my sake. I could see she wasn't happy at all. A few days later, they came home, Highfield, as a trio, Aunt, Dad, and his brother. This was the day I officially met my alleged biological father. By that time, we hadn't told Sekuru what was happening because it was very difficult for Sekuru to accept too, as he was also disappointed with my father. We both thought that on the day they would come and leave, they were going to do so before Sekuru comes back from work. That very day, my grandfather had an unplanned half day at work, so he came back home earlier than usual. When he saw people gathered, he asked in his vernacular, Agogo awawa ndindani? Gogo, who are these people? Gogo replied, yeah, madam memory. Yo, my grandfather nodding his head sideways, laughing sarcastically, he went inside and took an axe and started chasing them, shouting, Tachokani pano gwalu, get away from here. Even up to date, I still have that picture in my head. Sekuru was very upset, saying, you want to come now because memory is older. Where were you all this time? Now because he wants to get married, you want money. Vaipano. As they were being chased, I ran after them and I apologized. And I told them that we will organize another day. After a while, The lobola date was set, and on the lobola day, my father's sisters came and stood in for the family. She only collected clothes for my father and refused to take any money since I was raised at my maternal parents. However, she was later given a little token as per our culture. She agreed to it as it was in order. After my lobola, we never got in touch with him, and because Gogo never wanted me to be close to him, I kept it that way. I then moved in with my husband and asked Gogo if I could take my brother Shepherd with me. Gogo said, "Your marriage is still new. You can't go there together with your brother." But I insisted because I know what my brother had gone through, and she allowed me eventually. We moved to Budiro with my husband, and he enrolled him at Glenview High Secondary School. Sometime later, my brother started with his mischief again. We started getting calls from the school, being called to answer for Shepherd's naughty behavior, but my husband is a very understanding and patient man. He would tell me he's going through puberty, he will be fine. And I remember being told that if Shepherd asks a girl out, if she rejects, he would throw shade, saying, "Andikudi wakangofanana nehippopotamus." How can a hippopotamus survive on this bare ground? Student gave him a nickname and gave me a nickname, Sister Hippopotamus. More often, I was always called at his school to answer for his mischief. It began to wear me down until I started regretting taking him to stay with me. Time went by and my brother did not change his behavior. Even at home, he would go after my maids and I kept changing maids as they were uncomfortable. Shepherd's behavior at school got worse. He kept having issues at school until he got expelled. I cried so hard and reminded him of where we came from. I said to him, "Shepi, watokangamwa kwatakabva nenhamo yatakaona here, wadireiko kundinyadzisa kudaro?" This was the biggest blow. I was very disappointed. I reached out to Gogo and told her everything. Shepherd was doing his O-level, so he was a big boy now. Gogo then said, "Ngaambodzoka kuno ndigara naye pasi, nekuti ungatotadza kugara zvakanaka nemurume." I took him back to Gogo with the hope that she might change after she gets cautioned to stop bad behavior. Unfortunately, haana kuchinja. Out of desperation, Gogo reached out to that Bamkuru in Bulawayo, telling him that Shepherd has turned into a very stubborn child. The Bamkuru said, "Mudzosei kudzinza rake riri kumudaidza, anodzoka tambomuona." Gogo was left with no choice. She agreed, hoping for a better outcome, and Shepherd went to Bulawayo. When he arrived there, we got a call that he had decided to stay back in Bulawayo for a while. Not sure about this. Time went by. Then one day we received a call from Bulawayo that Shepherd wasn't feeling well. He has been admitted at Mpilo Hospital, and we organized an emergency and traveled with Gogo to Bulawayo to see him. When we got there, we saw the shock of our life. My brother was very ill, and his face had changed to be a different person due to the sickness. He tried to explain how he took ill, but he failed due to pain. Gogo wept and wept, calling my mother's name again. "Abigail, Abigail, iwe wati ndidiiko vazukuru vese vakapera ndichatochengetwa naniko." This broke my heart. I started crying too. It was a very emotional visit. After the visit, I phoned my husband and told him the situation, and he said, "Ask the authorities if Tsano can be transferred to Harare. It's better and easier if he is this side." At once, I went to ask about this, and our request was granted, as there was once a report that Shepherd never had visitors from the time he got admitted. He got an ambulance immediately, and they wanted one relative to go with him. Gogo went in, and I got in a bus back to Harare. He was transferred to Harare Hospital. The next day, we started going for our regular visits. Gogo would go in the morning and stay at the hospital so that she gets into all the 3 visits. Every visit, Gogo made sure my brother eats, forcing him, and she never lost patience. Every day, a prayer was, "Mwari musandinyadzise." A few weeks later, the doctors said he should have lumbar puncture done to see what's causing the illness, as he was having headaches through and through. Aish, this got us worked up, since people's theories say, haiite munhu anobva afa. The lumbar puncture was done successfully and he was diagnosed with meningitis. He was prescribed a drug called fluconazole. I'll never forget this. A month later, he got better and he was discharged. I asked Gogo if we could go to Budiro since I had a baby that time. My movements were limited. She agreed and we went to Budiro together. So Gogo would commute between Highfields and Budiriro. So far, this is the story that she has written. Unotoona kuti the life was full of challenges and pateta kuona kunge pakuita light Shepherd akura kuenda kuchikoro, then panobva patanga kuitika misikanzwa and all that, and she was also a young bride, guys. Wapo unenge uchiedzawo kuti vana vekumba kwenyu zvinhu zvese zvifambe zvakanaka, then boys rotongotamba iri kutoerera pageto. Pane pakatooma, but anyway, she was very resilient. Vakatraya kuti brother yavo iwane help. We will keep you updated as the story develops. Vasina kuona part 1 and part 2, you can go back and check pama videos atakaposta previously. Do leave your comments on what you think about this. Tichitenda Plucky who commented and many others. Plucky akambo mentioniwa ku chapter 1 uko kunze vaigara vese kuIngomo Barracks. We will try by all means to make sure that you guys keep in contact.